Silver miners are being suppressed, and it's no accident. Right now, something is unfolding that most people aren't even aware of. If you're paying attention, you can feel it, the heavy tension in the air just before everything breaks. Today, silver got hammered, down 4% in a brutal drop. The kind of move that triggers panic, that makes weak hands sell off and swear off metals for good. The mainstream media wants you to believe it's a natural pullback, a cooling off period for an overbought sector. They'll tell you retail investors are losing faith that the silver bull is tired. But here's the thing, they're lying. The truth is, while silver dropped, the miners barely budged. In fact, the miners ETF only dropped 1.4%. By midday, it was already recovering. That's not weakness, that's strength. And that's the first sign something is very wrong with the official story. Here's the question you need to ask. Why would silver drop 4%, but the miners barely flinch? Stick around. I'm about to reveal the truth the financial media won't touch. Now let's zoom out for a second. We're not talking about just another market dip. This isn't some random pullback. It's part of a much bigger pattern, and the mainstream is doing everything they can to keep you from seeing it. Silver is trading at $91 right now, but the companies pulling it out of the ground, they're priced like we're still in a $30 silver world. This is not just a lag in price action. This is a massive disconnect that shouldn't be happening in any rational market. So why aren't these miners responding? Why aren't their stocks rising with the price of silver? And here's the kicker. Why are we about to see a massive volatility event just hours from now and no one is talking about it? This is where things get interesting. As you're watching this, we're heading straight into one of the most dangerous days for institutional short sellers, the monthly options expiration on January 16th, a day that could force billions of dollars in positions to either make a fortune or implode. Now, let me make a bold statement. This is not a coincidence. The silver miners are being suppressed intentionally. The data doesn't lie, and the math behind it is undeniable. Here's the first piece of evidence. At 9:45 a.m. Eastern, silver got absolutely crushed, down 4% in minutes. That's the kind of drop that sets off a chain reaction, triggering stop losses, forcing out retail traders and pushing prices even lower. Classic manipulation. But here's where it gets interesting. The miners? They barely moved, only a 1.4% drop at the open. Notice what's missing. If silver is crashing, why aren't the miners crashing harder? Why are they showing strength when the rest of the market is panicking? That's not retail buying. This is institutional defense. Someone is holding that floor, and it's not a coincidence. This isn't about silver or miners anymore. This is about a financial mechanism that's about to explode, and it's being hidden right in front of your eyes. I'm about to break it down for you, and trust me, this will change how you see the entire silver market. Now, let's talk about escalation. This isn't a one-off event. It's part of a larger systemic issue that's been building for years. And the fact that it's still happening is a huge red flag. You've seen it before. Markets reacting slowly, dragging their feet, but then suddenly it all catches up. Think back to 2011. Silver went parabolic, and the miners, they lagged behind for months. When the catch-up finally happened, it was explosive. Some stocks soared 200%, 500%, even 1,000%. But right now, we're seeing the same thing happening, except this time it's getting covered up. The suppression of the miners isn't just a blip, it's a pattern, one that's more dangerous than most people realize. This is how the system works. The elite play the game in silence, holding prices down while retail investors are left in the dark. And when this catches fire, it's going to burn fast. Let's talk about the next layer of proof. If you're still doubting, let's take a closer look at the facts. There's more happening here than just a lag between silver and its miners. There's a massive disconnect, and the math behind it is as clear as day. Take a look at the financials. These miners are sitting on huge profit margins, but the market isn't reflecting it. At $30 silver, these companies were barely scraping by with 14% profit margins. But today, at $91 silver, their margins should be sitting at nearly 67%. That's a five-fold increase in profitability, and yet their stock prices are still stuck in the past. Here's the big contradiction. The market is treating silver as if it's still stuck at $30. And that's where the trap is. These companies are printing money at current prices, yet the market has them pinned down, almost as if the banks are keeping them underwater, blocking their true value from emerging. This isn't a theory. This is a mathematical certainty. The price action we're seeing now doesn't reflect the reality of silver's actual value. And when the market finally catches up, it's going to be explosive. Now let's stack up the pressure, because here's where it gets intense. A series of events is unfolding, and the pressure is mounting on multiple fronts. And I need you to understand something. When the market is this tightly wound, it doesn't take much for it to snap. First, we've got the options expiration tomorrow. Billions of dollars are on the line, and that's when things get really chaotic. Then there's the short volume. These institutional players are stuck in positions they can't escape. They've been shorting these miners for years, expecting silver to stay low. But now they're trapped. They're cornered, and that's when the desperation kicks in. And on top of that, we're witnessing the usual noise. Distracting headlines, panic from retail traders, and media blackout on the real story. All of this is building up, creating the perfect storm. But here's the million-dollar question. What happens if this continues? What happens if the suppression starts to break down? If silver holds strong and the miners finally break free, it's going to trigger a chain reaction. Let's shift gears for a moment, because at the end of the day, this isn't just about the numbers or the market mechanics. It's about real people. It's about you. If you've been following silver for any length of time, you know how volatile these markets can be. And you know that when the game changes, the impact on ordinary people is real. Retail investors, the ones who have been burned by these markets before, will find themselves in a position they never saw coming. They're the ones caught in the crossfire of this massive manipulation. So what does this mean for you? Well, if this volatility continues, it means you're about to witness a massive opportunity. But here's the thing. It's not a guarantee. The market is unpredictable. The risks are real. And if you're not prepared for what's coming, you could get swept up in the chaos. But if this feels familiar, if you've seen this pattern play out before, drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts, because the truth is, the people who understand what's really going on are going to be the ones who benefit most. Now let's pull back the curtain and look at the bigger picture. This isn't just a matter of a few traders or hedge funds making a bet on silver. What's really going on here is a systemic issue, a mechanism that allows all of this to happen behind the scenes. And it's something most people don't even know exists. It's about incentives. Specifically, the incentives of the banks and institutional players who benefit from keeping silver suppressed. Think about it. They're shorting silver, betting that it stays low, while at the same time, the physical market is screaming shortage. This disconnect between the paper market and the physical reality is the perfect storm. And here's the unsettling part. This mechanism, it's working. It's working to the point where the system is designed to suppress prices and prevent these stocks from reflecting their true value. But here's where it flips. When that system breaks, it doesn't just create chaos. It creates massive profit opportunities for the people who are paying attention. That's why the media won't touch this, because it exposes a financial truth they don't want you to understand. And that's the part that changes everything. So what happens next? The silver market is on the verge of a major decision, and there are two possible paths forward. Both of them are loaded with uncertainty. On one hand, if silver holds its ground, if it stays above $90 tomorrow, especially through options expiration, then expect a full-scale breakout. A gamma squeeze could push these stocks higher, and institutional shorts will be forced to cover. That could set off a chain reaction that drives the price up even further. But there's another path. What if silver drops below $85 during the chaos of OPEX? If that happens, we could see another round of suppression, another phase of uncertainty. But even then, don't be fooled. This isn't the end of the story. It would just be a brief pause before the inevitable catch-up starts. What I'm watching for, a key signal at that $90 level. If we see it hold firm, if we see smart money starting to move in while the shorts are fighting tooth and nail, that's when we'll know the game is changing. But right now, the clock is ticking, and you don't want to miss what happens next. And here's the insight that ties it all together. Everything we've talked about, all the volatility, all the manipulation, comes down to one thing. This is the moment of truth. Silver miners are grotesquely undervalued compared to the price of silver. The numbers are clear, the setup is there, and the market is about to face a reckoning. Tomorrow, we find out if the paper market will continue to dominate or if the physical reality of silver will finally break through. This is the moment when the suppression can't hold any longer. This is when everything flips. So, what should you do? Pay attention. Be ready. The next 24 hours could change everything. But here's what you need to understand. If you wait too long, it might already be too late. The opportunity is right in front of you. If you want to keep up with the market shifts, stay sharp, stay disciplined, and make sure you're subscribed for the next update. This is just the beginning.